So here's a question for you. Would you benefit from ongoing support to improve your sales conversations and ultimately close more business? The Sales Maven Society offers you daily support for your urgent sales questions, an extensive library of bite-sized trainings to hone your selling skills, and monthly live coaching calls where you receive individualized coaching from me specific to your business so that you're able to remove any bottlenecks in your sales process. This is the most robust sales coaching program around for an incredible value of only $147 a month. And you can join now for your first month for only $47. You get access to absolutely everything, including the live coaching calls with me. Come check it out and see if this is the place for you to really elevate your business to the next level. You can do this by going to yoursalesmaven.com/society, hit the join now button. And then when it takes you to that page, enter this code, the number 4, the number 7, and the word trial, TRIAL. So 47 trial, all one word, and you'll be a member. I can't wait to see you in there. Now, here's the podcast.
Do sales conversations make you feel awkward or pushy? It's time to ditch the outdated salesy strategies. Your guide, Nikki Rausch, will show you how to combine kindness with selling skills to meet your prospects where they are, and in the process, how to up-level your influence and income. Learn how to earn business easily and effortlessly. Here's Nikki.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to the Sales Maven Show. I'm your host, Nikki Rausch, your own personal sales maven, here to offer you tips, strategies, and techniques to master your sales conversations. Today's episode is an on-air coaching call with one of our brilliant Sales Maven Society members. It's Shanae Brown. Shanae, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Nikki.
I'm so excited to have you here. Tell everybody a little bit about you and your business and who you serve.
Absolutely. So I'm a leadership coach who specializes in helping Black women in corporate take up space and claim their seat at the table. I am also the founder of No Cream in This Coffee, a career development company that offers targeted leadership development programs for individuals and employers to help advance and drive equity for Black women in the workplace.
Yes. What an amazing opportunity, business that you have created, and such a clever name. I absolutely love it. You know, we've never talked about this. How did you decide on the name? Can I ask?
Sure. So, well, I get the question all the time that people want to know what it means.
I mean, I think I get what it means, but
yeah,
how did you decide this is going to be the name of the business?
So I wanted something to stand out, but also represent the change that I want to see. I look at No Cream in This Coffee as a movement and also a new narrative. So I was like, okay, let's come up with something that represents that. And I feel like for so long, Black women have been told they're too much and they have to tone it down or be somebody else in order to get ahead. And then I was like, oh, no cream in this coffee. When you think about coffee and the essence of Black coffee, it's bold, it's unapologetic, and without all the fluff that you have to, add in order to navigate the world pretty much as a Black woman. So that's how I came up with the name No Cream in This Coffee.
It's really clever. I love it so much.
Thank you.
Okay. So tell everybody a little bit about what is the ideal client for you? And when should somebody go, ooh, I need Shanae. I need her in my life. I need her to help either help the business with this equity situation and or the woman who is I need to get ahead. I want to have my seat at the table.
Yes. So that's a really great question. And for the individual, I think there's a woman who is tired of working twice as hard and getting half as much. And she comes to a point where I've tried to play the game and nothing has worked. How do I really advance, but also do it in a way that is authentic to me? So I always say that new hires who are starting a new company, and you're like, okay, I want to make a powerful first impression, but I don't want to bring in old baggage or corporate trauma that has happened from the past. How do I really step into this role and show that, you know, I'm here and I belong in the room? Or if it's someone who is trying to get promoted and their efforts aren't really working, or someone who has been recently promoted and they're like, okay, I need to perform at this level and show that I belong at this table. This is when you would hire Shanae. Well, hire me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And on the employer side, I work with companies who are clear that there is an issue. So companies who really understand that there is a nuanced experience for Black women. So some research came out a couple of years ago with leanin.org and McKinsey that really highlighted the experiences that so many Black women were going through. And I want companies who are like, okay, we understand that this is a problem, but we don't know how to address it. And then that's where I'll come in to provide some of the targeted leadership development programs that is really going to move the needle and advance Black women.
And then, okay, so a leadership program to advance Black women. Are you also doing some other types of trainings in organizations? Is that right?
Yes. So I'll come in and do some workshops to educate, whether it's ERG, so employee resource groups, or small teams, on what they need to do and the conversations that they need to have and the people they need to connect with in order to advance their career. So it's more around the career advancement piece.
Lovely, lovely. Okay. And how do the women that have, like the example that you gave, they're either new starting in a role or they're in a role and that's not getting the movement that they want. What are the ways that you work with them?
So I have a 12-week leadership development program that really walks them through, well, provides them a blueprint on how to navigate their career. So how to navigate this transition. And then we work together within those 12 weeks with biweekly coaching sessions, as well as some trainings on how to communicate with your manager, how to maximize your one-on-one time with your manager, how to make connections, and potentially how to get a sponsor, right? So part of career advancement is having people who are going to advocate for you. So whether that's your manager or your manager's manager, giving them strategies on how to be more visible in the company and speak up in meetings, take on stretch projects. Those are all the things that we walk through in the program.
I love this. Okay. Yeah, such good work. And then you also do you do is it monthly? You have a monthly, will you talk about that too?
Yeah, so I have what I like to call a community conversation called the Healing Hour. And based on the research that, you know, McKinsey and Leanin, and just my own personal experience, right? There are a lot of barriers that Black women face in the workplace. And the majority of them are navigating these spaces as the only. So as the only woman, as the only woman of color. And it may feel isolating for some women to navigate these spaces. So what I created was this community to where we gather monthly and have open conversations about what it's like to be a Black woman in a workplace. These are the challenges that we're facing, but how do we overcome it, right? So getting some support from each other and then talking about ways that sort of, that barriers sort of show up for us. So the conversations happen monthly. Each month is a different topic. So this month we're talking about burnout and how, certain views and how many of us were brought up to sort of work twice as hard and how that's contributing to this idea of like overworking.
Yeah.
And how do we really break up with this habit of overworking so that way we can find time to focus on the things that are going to advance us. So that's the Healing Hour. and it happens monthly. And that's actually what I want to talk about today.
Oh, okay, good. All right, good. Because I love that you're doing the healing hour. I think it is really smart, and you are creating this space for these discussions to happen, which for anybody who's ever felt isolated, to find a place where you can be vulnerable, speak your truth, and hear other people's experiences, and that create that culture and that community. I think that is really priceless. I think I will say from my own experience as a woman, it's priceless to be able to be in that type of an environment, in that room, and have other people who can relate to where you are and what's going on for you. I think it's really it's well, I'm gonna say it's healing to the soul, which makes sense that you're calling it the healing hour, because to me it feels very healing. I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah. And women say that all the time when they join. They're like, it feels so good that you know that you're not alone.
Yeah.
But then it's also kind of sad to know how many women are experiencing some of these things. But when you are in community, it does feel good to know that you're not alone and that other people are getting through it. So it's sort of expansive for you as someone who's going through, one of these challenges and one of these barriers, to see how other women have overcome it.
I think it also, I mean, I don't know, you tell me, but it feels like in a way, when you are in a room and you get to hear other people who are experiencing it, and yes, it might be very frustrating that many women, Black women specifically in your case, are experiencing a certain type of situation. But in a way, to me, it also can be very empowering, because at some point you go, enough's enough. Like, I'm going to take action on this. This isn't, this is not a singular experience. Therefore, something needs to happen. And I feel like change can happen as a result of that.
Absolutely. And I think I was very intentional about making sure that it didn't become a wine fest, I guess, right? Like where we were just whining about our experiences. It's like, no, okay, this is happening, but what are we going to do about it, right? And it is empowering to talk about how you can overcome it.
Yeah, I love it so much. All right, well, you said this is what you want to talk about, the healing hour. So how can I serve you today? What would be useful for us to chat about?
Yeah, so with the healing hour, it has been attracting so many different women. It has been growing. My email list is growing, like all the good things.
Yes.
And every month there's people I've never met who are joining in and they're returning. But one of the things, I don't record these sessions, and I'm glad I don't, because I don't think people would be as vulnerable and as transparent if they were recorded. And someone actually told me that they were glad it wasn't recorded. But I wanted to talk about ways to turn the people who are attending, and are part of these community conversations, into advocates for it. Like how to, and also I'm big on Instagram, social media, in terms using social media. And I think with my target audience, word of mouth is still very powerful. So I wanted to find ways to get the people who attend the healing hour to promote it and talk about it on social media.
I love that. Okay, so I would say, how can you make something fun out of it for them? So it could be that there is an incentive, right? You could have some type of an incentive to get them to take an action that you want them to take. So if you think about, I'm trying to think of, if you remember what we did back in February for the member appreciation, I was really specific on the certain actions that I wanted people to take. And so the thing that I did is I incented those actions, right? So everybody earned points. Those points could then be used to, secure additional product, which I think you actually used your points, if I remember right. You used your points to get a pretty substantial discount on a masterclass. Is that right?
Yes.
Am I remember this right? Okay. So I'm not saying you need to do the whole point system, but is there some way to incent them to share about it? And maybe each week it's something where you go, okay, so just for anybody who's willing, leave your camera on and let's all take some pictures of the group, post about it, and use your hashtag that you have that's specific to the group, but maybe also ask them to share an answer to a question. So they get to share the picture, and you could say, you can turn your camera on or off, and you can set your, Zoom to only show participants that have their cameras on. So it doesn't even show the name of the people who have their cameras off, right? Or it's something you could do at the end, right? At the very end, those who will stick around, like, we're going to do some fun stuff. Here's the thing. And there's a chance to win something. It could be, maybe it's even a big prize. Maybe it's a coaching session with Shanae. I don't know if you want to do something that big, but it would also give people the opportunity to experience your work. Or here's another, I'm just going to keep throwing ideas at you until you're like, I'm full, Nikki. Okay. So here's another idea is you could, for the person, so of all the people who participate, maybe they get entered into the drawing, right? And they've got to tag you on social media so that you can track who took action on whatever it was. And then you pull a name, and at the very beginning, maybe of the healing hour, you do something to recognize that person. So you highlight them in some way, or you do something that really kind of pours love and recognition on this person. And then some people really love that. And so that will really incent them to take action. Now, other people like to win things. So you might change it up, as to what you're doing. Or you let them pick. You can either get a mini coaching session with me, or you can become our featured member for the next healing hour or something. And you take 5 minutes to just pour a lot of love all over them and, talk about who they are. Or you could give them the 5 minutes to talk about themselves, or you could actually talk about them. So there would be like a form that they would fill out, and you would gather that information and then share about them. Do you know how to recognize and act on a buying signal? I have a gift that is going to teach you these 17 buying signals so that you're ready when you get them to take action and move somebody to the next part of the sales conversation. You can get this right now by going to yoursalesmaven.com/Maven. Go grab it now.
I like that idea. I like both ideas. Okay. After last month's healing hour, I had someone talk about, she shared this month's healing hour and talked about how great last month was, and said she's so excited to attend again. She signed up for this month's healing hour, which is actually happening next week. Okay. How can I pour love on her and thank her for sharing? So that way it also sort of helps people see it's okay to do this, right? It's okay to talk about the healing hour and tell people to come and join.
So if I were you, I would try to think of, and you don't have to go this deep, but you can decide if this makes sense to you. I would try to think of a phrase or a term for what you would call that time. And then, so as people are joining and you're getting ready, and I'm assuming you do some type of an opener or welcome for the group. And then you would say, now, before I share the question that we're going to discuss today, I want to take 2 minutes and really do whatever, right? So pour love to, you can call it whatever you want, all over somebody in the group. So today the person is, XYZ person. And the reason for this is because it just means the world that you would share about this, that you would let other women know what's going on. And I know that can be very vulnerable. And at the same time, it will inspire others. And so I just really want to recognize you and your efforts, right? So just like give her that moment to like let her be in the spotlight and shine. And then ask the group, like, would you guys all put in the chat, like, you know, share something that you can appreciate about what she just did. Because here's the thing, when you can get the group saying nice things about one person, that is an experience unlike most things. What I will say, most people have never, ever experienced anything like it. So this, when I was going through my NLP training, neuro-linguistic programming, for anybody who's like, what did Nikki just say? My instructor or my teacher, she used to do this thing where she had these little cutout pieces of paper and they had fish on them. And there's a story behind it. And I'm not going to go into the full detail of the story, but the idea was that you would get these fish and you would put somebody's name on the front, and on the back, you would write something really specific that you appreciated about that person. And then you would just slip them a fish at some point at the end of the day, or you would just put it like on their table or on their chair or whatever. And that was like an incredibly powerful experience. And then we did this thing during graduation. So when we would graduate at the end of our program, it's kind of hard to explain, but we would stand in 2 rows and we would put our hands like up above our heads, kind of at an angle, and we would touch hands with the person in the row across from us. So we would make this like arch, basically. Okay. And then whoever's turn it was to get their certificate for graduating the class, they would start and they would come through this like tunnel, basically, of people. And as they would get up to, like, if it was me and you standing there, you and I would both lean in and we would whisper in the person's ear a compliment, something that we really appreciated about the other person. And so they would hear 2 compliments in their ears at the same time. And then they would go to the next group of people and the next group of people and the next group of people. And now, because I assisted in these classes, in addition to being a student, once I graduated, I got to see this and witness this multiple times. And the expression on people's faces by the time they got to the end of the arch, there might have been 20, 25 compliments, given to them. They would be in tears of this. Like, it was the most, I haven't actually thought about this for a while, and I have the chills now telling it to you. It would be the most profound experience for people. And I remember having it done to me too. And sometimes now I'd had it done now multiple times because she did it for the assistants too, when we would go through the class with somebody from start to finish. And it was very overpowering to have so many nice things said about you. So I think if you did this in the group and asked people, would you just take a moment and post in the chat something that you appreciate about, whoever it is that we're talking about. Okay. You will find that people will be like, oh my gosh, it's overwhelming in some ways, but it's really beautiful to be able to take it in. And I think that will really contribute to what your mission is, which is around healing. Because to have nice things said about you, and sometimes by people who don't know that much about you, but can just pick something. So it's not like, I would give some parameters on the things you would like them to compliment the person on, or give some examples of really kind, thoughtful things that they could say about the person. You'd be surprised at what people like, the experience that it creates for them. And then others want to have that experience. So then they're more likely to want to share and be recognized. And now the thing is once you start doing it, you can't let it go. Like, you have to decide and commit, because if you don't do it and somebody's like, oh, they're going to feel like, oh man, I feel cheated in a way. And you don't want anybody leaving feeling pinched or cheated by not having had the experience. So.
Right. Yeah, I think that's so interesting. And I would agree because in March, I hosted a healing hour on female rivalry and women mistreating women.
Mm.
It was the most amount of signups that I've ever gotten. So that told me so many people are experiencing this. And it wasn't only Black women who showed up on this call. So I'm like, this is a real problem where women are feeling like they're being mistreated by other women, and that there's this like competition going on at work. And I think to your point of showing women what community looks like, what sisterhood looks like, what just pouring love on each other looks and feels like, that would be really, really amazing.
Yeah. Now I have one more other potential idea for you, but I think what we talked about that will help promote the healing hour right there. Now, the other thing that I would encourage you to do, and you might have to do this multiple times, is ask those who really got a lot out of today's session if they would stick around for 5 extra minutes and do a quick testimonial about it. And then you could record it. So you change your view, right, in Zoom and put them like full screen, and then pay somebody to do some edits. And, anybody that did it, let them know that you're asking them to give permission that you would use this to market the healing hour. So then that way, people who are like, I don't want to be recorded, they can leave the call. No hard feelings. And people who are like, this is an amazing experience and other women need to know about it, and you better believe I will say why they should come. You could decide, to create like a clip where there's multiple women talking. You could share one woman talking, and that would be another way for you to promote the healing hour. And like, and so come up with maybe 1 or 2 questions that you want them to answer or, and then let them just say like, and now you have it recorded and now you can repurpose that in a lot of different ways.
Yes. I love that. Oh, that one was good.
Okay, good.
Not saying that the others weren't. Those were great too. But
from a marketing standpoint, I think that one is critical. From a community standpoint, I think the others that we talked about will help build some additional community. And the thing about community, I don't know if you would agree about this in the Sales Maven Society, but I feel like the group has created their own culture outside of me, and which is super satisfying. And I will say, I feel really honored about that. There's this whole community of the group that feels like it doesn't have anything to do with me, that it is very much like, here we are to support and lift each other up, whether Nikki's here or not. Right. And so you want the healing hour, I think, to start to have its own culture, its own kind of entity outside of Shanae. You still get to be the leader. You still get to be the presence that is facilitating for sure. And, of course, obviously, as your sales coach, I want this to also contribute to your business, right? That means I also want you to be sharing about how these women can work with you or how they can bring you into their organization to help their organization continue to foster what it is that needs to change, right? Like let's make some change in the organization as well. So I want you talking about that. Like that is still going to live on its own, but let there be this community culture piece, and you will then start a movement.
Yes, yes. And I see at the end, like people are like, here's how you can connect with me, dropping their LinkedIns in a chat.
Yeah.
So I think people are starting to connect with each other already.
That's awesome. And you want to encourage that. You want to encourage them. And at some point too, from a monetization standpoint of this, you might think about creating small groups. if, let them, where you do some facilitation, you give them maybe some structure to it. And now it's something that, again, they pay you to be a part of. You organize, you facilitate, maybe you even set up the Zoom link and all of that. You may or may not be on the call. You could decide, but having small groups might also be another way to build that really strong community. And so with the small group, people who are consistently coming to the group and participating, they could maybe lead the small group. And now you're starting to create ambassadors in the group for you.
That's a good idea. Really good idea.
So there we go. All right, my friend. I'm
Those were
really
good.
excited to hear what you do next. Do you have any lingering question, anything we haven't talked about today that you want to make sure we get to?
No, I wanted just some ideas on how I could nudge people to do it.
Yeah.
And not like, hey, you must do this, right?
Right.
But I think all three of those ideas were really, really good. So I'm going to see which one I want to implement first and try it out. Because I do have the healing hour next week. So I want to try it out.
Yeah. And if you have people who are already registered for the healing hour, which it sounds like you already do for next week, send them something and ask, would you be willing? Like, don't ever underestimate the power of the ask. Would you be willing to share about the group? And I even wrote like a little thing that makes it super easy for you to share about it on social media. You can just cut and paste this. Or would you be willing to invite 2 or 3 other women who would benefit from taking part in this group? So have a specific ask. Don't do both, by the way. Do one or the other. And you could test it each month as to what you're asking people to do. See which one drives the best results. Never underestimate the power of the ask. And again, a lot of people won't do it. Like, just to be really candid, it's always going to be like the 80-20 rule, right? Like maybe 20% will take action on it. The thing about it, though, is the 20% that do are going to attract like attracts like. So you're going to start to attract people who also are probably willing to share. And so that's a good thing for you to build that culture that way.
And so are you saying send this to them before the healing hour? Okay.
Yeah. Send it today or, up to you, but send it today and ask for the people who are registered or who are already registered. And you might even make this an automated thing that once somebody registers, that you send them a congratulations, your registration is complete. And then you could have the message right in that registration. Like, would you be willing to take one more step and share about this? And, here's how to do that.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that too.
If you can automate it too, it's going to make it easier for you.
Yeah. I use Eventbrite for people to sign up each month.
Okay.
So I can make that as part of the automated emails that Eventbrite sends.
Yeah. Why not? I mean, it's a missed opportunity if you don't at least put that message in there. And again, not everybody's going to do it, but the people who will do it, again, you're going to get some really great people that come as a result of like, oh, I came because so-and-so invited me.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. All right, friend. Thank you so much for being here. I always wrap up with 2 questions. The first one is, what's one benefit you've received from being in the society?
Okay. So I know everyone usually says the emails that you edit. And I would 100% say that has been a game changer. But another benefit, which I think is really, really cool, is seeing the different types of businesses that people have created. Because I think when you're starting as an entrepreneur, you're not really sure if your idea is going to work. People tell you like, oh, this is not going to work. So I think seeing women build really successful businesses based on whatever calling that they had or, whatever mission that they're passionate about. And it's like, wow, like that is really, really cool. And also very expansive for someone who is starting out, or not even just starting out, for any entrepreneur to know that if you keep going, it doesn't matter what other people say, like you can still build a successful business. So I love that part.
Oh my gosh, I love that answer so much. Thank you so much for sharing that. I remember telling somebody, or like when I first started my business, that I was starting a business. And I remember this person saying to me, almost all businesses fail in the first 5 years. Like, why would you do that? That seems crazy. And I remember thinking, I'll show you.
I tell people I don't need that negativity in my life.
No. Keep your opinion about that to yourself, people. It's such a weird thing to say to somebody like, here, let me stomp all over your dream. Like, oh,
right.
Yeah. Okay, last, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you? I know we're going to put your information in the show notes, but I want you to say, what is the best way for people to connect with you? Because believe me, people, you want some Shanae in your life. She's amazing.
Thank you. So I'm on LinkedIn at Shanae Brown. So that's SHAN as in Nancy, AE, Brown as in the color. And also I post more on Instagram, which I'm more interactive on. But that's No Cream in This Coffee on Instagram.
There you go.
Yes, that's where you can find me. And nocreaminthiscoffee.com is the website.
That's right. All right. So follow her. Please promote the healing hour for her, and let people who know that would benefit from being there that it's happening, that she's created this really safe space for people. So thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for being here. And for you, the listener, thank you so much for taking part and being a part of this conversation with us. I wish you continued success. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks for listening to Sales Maven. Visit us online at yoursalesmaven.com/maven for more resources to boost your confidence and skills.
Are you ready to increase your confidence in your sales conversations? I have a gift for you that is going to show you exactly how to do that. It is my Closing the Sale ebook. It's all about leveling up your confidence, giving you language to use, how to seamlessly move somebody through the sales process. And you can get it right now by going to yoursalesmaven.com/maven. Go grab it.